All right. Ready to record a motherfucking podcast.
Ready as I can be.
It's a bit like that, isn't it? Right. So, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Fearless Training Raw Knowledge Podcast with your host, as ever, myself, Alex Connor, where we talk everything, really. Training, nutrition, lifestyle, the works. We're back here with AEMF. Looks like we're kind of in a studio at the minute with the bit of the backdrop on the wall. But today I'm with the bold and the beautiful Lenise Pattini. Hopefully I've got that right.
You did.
Thank you. Woo, first obstacle down.
Pressure's off now.
It's a bit lighter, isn't it? I'm sure a few people are going to know, obviously by the thumbnail, and there'll be some mutual friends that listen to the podcast, so they may know who you are and what you do. But for the listeners and the watchers who don't, let's start off at the beginning, as we always do. Tell us who you are, what you do, and more importantly, why. Take as long or as short as you want.
All right. Well, as you said, I'm Lenise Pattini. I am a WBFF Bikini Pro. I have been since 2017. I can't add in my head how many years that's been now, but still too early in the morning.
Yeah, literally, I'm like 2018's last time I competed. Fuck, it's gone fast.
It has, it's gone so fast. And my main occupation outside of competing is I'm a makeup artist, and I have been for 13 years now. So yeah, that's what I do. It's what I love, and
Awesome.
Yeah. It's really good that both of those things sort of go hand in hand together at the moment as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine it definitely helps as well.
Yeah, it does.
Because it leads on to probably a lot of the connections you've got in the industry and whatnot. So I guess one of the first questions I want to talk about is where did your love of health and fitness come from? I kind of think I know because we've got a mutual friend, but I'm not sure. She claims that she introduced you to it, but where was that love and passion of training initially come from? Like, did you just stumble into it? Was it something you did, or did you have influence from a particular friend?
I never was really into the gym at a younger age. Like, I played team sports and stuff when I was younger, like in school, and I was a BMX racer for 5 years of my life.
Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, there you go. Shit.
From I think the age of 10 to 15. And where I grew up in Cairns, gym wasn't really a big thing back then. So I just didn't really, didn't interest me whatsoever. And then at the age of, I think I was 21 when I first moved to the Gold Coast, a small town country girl in Cairns, not really sort of around the whole, I don't know what you want to call it, I guess the GC life. Moving here, I guess seeing everybody getting into it, I was like, yeah, cool, wanted to start going to the gym. So
how old were you when you moved?
21. I think I was 21 when I moved here to the Gold Coast.
And you've got a background like me of Italian. Obviously you were born in Cairns, is that right?
I was born in Cairns, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And is it your mum or your dad's side? And sort of when did they come over, like with the Italian?
So I'm Australian because my parents were both born here, but my grandparents and my whole family on both sides are Italian. So my grandparents were born over in Italy. So yeah, a bit of north and south in me. So yeah.
There's the love of food.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Family, culture, soul.
Yeah.
And obviously if you train, you get to eat more food.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Literally the best, right?
Yeah.
So, sorry, I interrupted. You were 21, you came to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And then you started to think, okay, that was kind of more of the trend, right?
Yeah,
Because it is quite aesthetic.
Yeah, it is. And I just wanted, I guess, just to feel better about myself. So, yeah, just between my friends and everyone that I was hanging around with at the time, I signed up to the gym and sort of got into things then. I started from scratch, just, like anybody else getting into it, had no idea what I was doing, was awkward, but yeah, I just knew it needed to be done. And, with anything, you're going to get better with it over time. So yeah, and then I think about after maybe, how long did I live here for? I can't remember. It was somewhere between 6 and 12 months of me first moving here, is when me and my now husband got introduced, and him being a PT and everything, he helped me obviously learn a lot more on my journey, and, taught me all the, fundamentals of training and food and nutrition, and then it just sort of went on from there. And I was into the gym for probably about 5 or 6 years. I swore black and blue I would never compete. I saw Matt compete and do the whole old school dieting when we first got together, and I was like, nah, food too much, there's no way I will ever eat chicken and broccoli for, 4 to 6 months of my life to look like that. Saw friends go through it, and then I was at the gym one day with one of my best friends, and she'd already competed in a show, and was like, "Oh, I'm going to do my second show," and I was like, "I'm going to do one too," and then it just went from there. And
so that was kind of the protagonist. That was your best friend.
Yeah.
Before we digress into that, I want to go back because as people know, so Matt Richo, people know him as Richo. He's been on the podcast, so for people who are listening, if not, go back. It's a banger episode.
Yeah.
So you met was he training you or was he training a friend, and how did that sort of coagulate? Because you often find in this industry, because if you train, you want someone like-minded, and it does generally, if we're into fitness, we don't always go out. We're probably guilty of not going out as much as we should, having balance sometimes. But I find a lot of partners kind of link up in the gym. Yeah. Was that something direct? Did it happen over time, or was did you met him and you were like, "Fuck, this is the guy for me"?
So it was kind of through a friend and through the gym. So the gym that I was going to at the time, he was a PT there, but I didn't know who he was. We didn't know each other. And then a friend at the time had moved to the Gold Coast with me from Cairns, and she signed up at the same gym. And I don't even know if they still do it these days, but if you're a new member at the gym, sometimes they'll give you 3 free PT sessions with somebody, and my friend randomly got him as a PT, and then they just became really good friends, and her and I lived together as well. And then I think just from him knowing that I lived with her and that we were friends and that I went to the gym, and
Was it Good Life back then?
Good Life,
Good Life? Okay,
it was. And then I guess the rest is history from there. Then he was, I think he was just asking about me, and then it just kind of all
naturally went from there.
Yeah.
Went on a date.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. I like training, you like training.
Yeah. I think our first proper date was at Max Brenner, so.
Hey, of course it was.
Yeah, why would it be anywhere else?
So you still remember those early stages, right? It's important.
Yeah, 100%.
It's quite nostalgic.
Yeah, it very much is.
When you started hanging out, did he then just ask you out and it transpired from there, or did you ask him out? Because sometimes the females have got to be a little bit more direct, and
he sat me down. I was about to... I think he wanted to lock me in before I went on my first overseas holiday with a bunch of 6 or 7 girls. Maybe that's why I don't know. But I remember, I think I was at work one day and he took me on a lunch break and asked me to be his girlfriend. So.
What a guy. He's very old school, very loyal.
Yeah, very much so. One of the greatest guys you'll ever meet. So,
I can confirm this is true.
Pretty much every person that crosses his path will completely agree.
Salt of the earth.
Yeah,
this is true. Quite a rarity these days as well.
Very much,
which is very nice to see in this world where people are constantly splitting up and diving in and out of relationships. It's quite refreshing.
Yes.
And then, so we bounce back to your friend competed. That was the protagonist. What shows did she do? Was it WBFF or was she doing something different?
No, WBFF,
Right, okay.
And that was even though I tracing back to when I said I would never compete, I always was in the back of my mind, if I ever did, it would have only ever been WBFF. It was never, never even considered the other federations. It was just something about the WBFF. Obviously, all the glitz and the glam, but I didn't really know that much about it then. But I just knew that if I was going to compete, it was going to be WBFF. So,
And that's probably quite an important point as well, because there's probably more federations now. They seem to be emerging all the time and then diversifying, and some people have fallings out and then they create their own one. It's hard to keep up, quite frankly. Yeah. But I think making that decision is really critical for a lot of people. They're like, what should I do? But for you, it was quite clear cut. And it was always going to be WBFF. So apart from the glitz and the glamour, was there any other reason? Was it the look? Was it part of the process of where you have to, go through different phases? You get to wear different things. You don't necessarily have to do a solo routine from memory. Could be wrong. Was there anything else that you were like, this is a bit more me? Or was it just that kind of
I think I was just very drawn to it. But I also loved, the bikinis, that you can go, a lot more all out with bikinis, and just the looks of the girls in general, the pros and just, general competitors for the WBFF. I just loved the whole look and just the vibe and everything. And I love that it's a show and that you can be yourself, and it's not just structured cookie cutter posing and everything. So I love that you can, be yourself, and just, gives you so much opportunity to grow, and the friendships, and just everything about it's just incredible. So
I'm gonna ask some questions based on, like, from the viewer's point of view, because I know they're probably like, ask this question, because a lot of girls probably love to chat to you about your experience. So I think the first one is, what advice would you offer, before we get into the specifics of your experience, to other females specifically who are looking to get into WBFF, and maybe perhaps how to not only integrate, but what category they should go in, or maybe anything advice you would have given yourself before competing last time? Maybe just start with general advice that you'd sort of, guide girls towards, just to so they have a better experience.
I mean, if it's your first time competing and you're only just kind of getting into everything, and trying to decide, I guess, what category you fit into, you've got to look at, like, where you're already starting. So if you're somebody who's, I mean, this, I guess, goes with any, federation, not just with WBFF, but just, seeing what muscle mass and everything you're already holding. So, like, definitely looking at that starting point. If you're somebody who's, only kind of just started stepping foot into the gym, obviously bikini is going to be your best, option to go with until you sort of, I guess, work in it more and build some more muscle. But if you're somebody, like myself, when I went into it, I'd already been training for 5 or 6 years, like doing heavy weight training and whatnot. So, and playing sport and racing BMX and stuff, like I already had quite a, I guess, decent foundation to work with. So taking all those sorts of things into consideration, finding the right coach, making sure you've got the right coach that's suited to that federation and knows, all the fundamentals and everything. And that'd be the first things that I'd say to sort of look into, and make sure that, your overall goal, like look at the pros in each federation and make sure that that's, what you're aiming for, but also what your body type is suited to as well. So,
So, and that's really good. So let's maybe digress more into your experience with it specifically. When can maybe you talk us through the first time you competed and what that was like, and what were the main takeaways that you learned from that first time on stage, and maybe talk us through the feeling that you had, because I know as well the first time you step on stage, it's pretty cool. Like, it's pretty nerve-wracking, but I always say to people, you will very, very quickly discern and know whether it's for you or not as soon as you get on stage. Because if you really, like, you're like, nah, this is not for me, too nervous. Or you just sort of go, I'm nervous, but ooh, that looks cool, let's do that again. It's like a roller coaster. Like,
it really is. Like, I was nervous as absolute shit. Like, I was shaking, but holy shit, I could not wait to get out on that stage. I was so excited. It was just, like, I always say to everybody, aside from my wedding day being the greatest day of my life, like, comp day is like the next greatest day of my life. Like, I just absolutely love it. And I mean, I've had this conversation with Matt before, because I did have, I guess, quite a good run for my first show. When I did compete, I did win and win my pro status my very first show, very first time on stage. So I guess, it's always going to be that much more exciting when that does happen. However, I have competed in, like, pro shows since then, and, gone completely backwards and had the experience from the other end as well. And I still froth it. I still think it's the greatest, experience. And just for my own personal growth, I don't think I'd be, where I am, and just the confidence and just everything that's, sort of come with it. So, yeah. But it's definitely not for everybody. You have to be, committed, and you have to be very mentally strong as well, because that shit is hard.
It definitely is. I think it's hard for people to relate if they've not competed, and that's not coming from a place of what would be the appropriate word. Arrogance maybe would be one of them. Like, you don't know, but it is kind of hard, because I always say with physique sports, it's not just a pay to play. Like, it is, but it isn't. for example, me and you tomorrow, I always use an example. We could get a cricket bat and a ball and we could play.
Yeah,
or we
yeah.
could get into a federation. It might not be great, but we could just start playing, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's fine. But you can't just get on stage.
Yeah.
Like you have to be in a certain condition. You have to, or you should build a certain physique. And then obviously there's all of the other things that come into it as well. There's tan, there's the posing, there's the, the outfits, and then there's the registrations and the travel. And there is a lot.
It's very costly.
Absolutely, you know, which is interesting. So I think, by having a bit of a research first, and that's why I wanted to ask you about what advice would you give? Because I think it's unfair when some people just get like, oh, you should go on stage, and they're not given the support.
Yeah.
I feel like they're kind of set up to fail, and it's great that you had a good experience the first time. It's
Yeah.
not going to be like for everyone.
Yeah.
So maybe let's talk about those latter shows then, which weren't so good initially, and what are the things that you took away from that when you faced that adversity?
Yeah.
What are the things you were like, okay, obviously this is maybe not my day, it's a bit of a shit result, but what did you take away from that, like to motivate you now?
Yeah.
Because if I am correct, this year's your year, right?
It's my year.
Season B, baby.
It's my year. I cannot wait.
So what have you taken now to kind of spearhead this attack, if you will, into Season B to bring your most complete package in?
Yeah. I mean, it just as much as it obviously sucked at the time, coming out on the other end and, not doing as well, but I'm so glad I went through that experience because it just gives you the drive, the experience, the determination to just keep going until for me, until I get what I want, I won't stop. So, You've
got to have that relentless attitude, right? So for you, I guess it did build a bit more resilience and motivation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like kind of got the fire going in the belly a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I know that when we first connected properly, I think one of the first times we had a conversation was when I came round to, I think it was it wasn't a Christmas party, it was like a get-together.
Yeah.
And we were chatting, I think we struck a chord about food and whatnot, but you were telling me about competing, and I was like, oh, when are you competing? And obviously the elephant in the room is COVID.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fucked everything up. But one of the things I noticed is you were very I've got to do this, this is what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I want to 100% do this before I move on to the next chapter of my life.
Yeah.
And maybe start a family and whatever that might be to you. So.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think it's like I said, experiencing those things on the other end of the scale just definitely gives you that push, and it makes you see, you might not see it at the time, but it makes you see when you look back, why you didn't do better and the amount of, growth mentally and just in so many other ways that I've made since then. I'm like, I can totally see why, I didn't win or place higher in that show. And, I've taken away all those things and I've worked on them, and now I know I'm ready. Now I know I'm,
100%.
Yeah.
So let's talk specifically from an aesthetic point of view.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I will ask the obvious question: would you ever go to the next category? So we've got, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lenise, we were talking about this the other day, but in the females, we've got the bikini, and then we've got, is it figure?
So it was always bikini, fitness, then figure. However, there is the brand new category now in between that sits between bikini and fitness, which is wellness.
Right, so bikini, fitness, wellness.
Bikini, wellness, fitness, figure.
Oh, right, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
And obviously figure being the more muscular, all the way sort of down. So would you ever enter a different category, or is bikini always, you think at this point, now that's for me? Bikini,
if I have a choice, is definitely my go-to. That's what I'm definitely want to keep working on. Working my way before wellness was an option. Working my way up to fitness just wasn't really my cup of tea. I love how those girls look on stage. They look absolutely incredible, but just for me personally, I don't know, that's just not a look that I wanted for myself, especially because, most of the time, especially when your competing days are done, I'm not going to look that lean all the time. So I think I like, the off-season look of bikini physique for myself better. So working up to fitness just wasn't really an option for me. And then when the wellness category came in, I did sort of consider that might be something that I have to step into, because it is something that, a category that they ask for a fuller lower body. But I mean, never say never. We'll always just see how I look as prep goes on. But after having the first WBFF show here that they had the wellness category, I think, I mean, I do have that fuller lower body when I'm not competing, but I think when I do compete, I do lean down. My body still suits the bikini category better, which suits me fine because, as I said, that's my main focus and my main goal, and you know, trying to achieve that ultimate, you know, bikini physique. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because, like you said, that's quite important actually, and we're going to get more into this as we go. I really want to dig into kind of some of the trials and tribulations and the expectations that females have. And obviously there's a lot of negatives that come with that because, again, some people are given the wrong information and they're made to feel like they have to look and feel a certain way, and it's about being human at the end of the day. And yes, competing is amazing, but again, like you said, you've got to be happy when you're not competing, and that's going to be most of your life, and it's not going to be forever.
Exactly.
So that's probably a really valid point. I would like to talk about the specifics as well of, and I think this would be good for the listeners, like your tan, the makeup, which obviously is something you specialize in, the bikini, things like that, the outfits, because I know it's different from category to category, but something that appeals to me as a bit of a showman, as people know, is the outfits and the actual presence. I think that's what kind of gives it the show its kind of premise, if you will. You know, it's like you come in, they've got the music, they've got the lights, it's the outfits. Like you said, it's the glitz and glamour. It's like it's like the Monaco Formula One of competing. You know, it's like that's where you go to be seen. Let's talk about like all of those little things and how you prepare them, maybe where you get them from, and what are the things that have merit and bias in terms of maybe the cut of the bikini, because I know, for example, it's not as important when I competed in bodybuilding, but like it can make a difference. And a lot of people go into these shows, they don't know. So maybe let's include posing in that, and maybe the heels. Let's talk through all the little elements, what you have found, what's worked for you. Obviously you might do your own makeup, I'm not sure. And what people can do to kind of enhance that, or maybe where they should start sourcing or learning it from, so that when it comes to the competition day, you know, they're not going to be like, fuck, like where am I going to get my tan and this and that. You know?
Well, with WBFF, they do have their tanning and beauty services, which like you are required to sort of go through them, which makes it more uniform across like the stage as well on show day. So like all the tans are the same. And it creates a really good experience, as I always say as well, especially like with having your hair and makeup and tan done backstage on show day. Like it gives you the opportunity to mingle with other competitors, and you know, it's just that whole experience of show day and getting ready and everything like that. So at least that's sort of one thing that you wouldn't really have to stress about going to source
that's actually really
on your
good.
own.
Because the tan is huge in bodybuilding. And you got to get the base, you got to get someone to put it on, and you need to know how to put it on, and it has a, like, in my opinion, it makes fucking day and night difference.
100%.
Because I did a couple of shows, I had someone really good do it, and then I kind of fucked it up a little bit all the times, and I was like, oh wow, like that made a huge difference. So that's good, and it's like one less thing for people to kind of be
have to worry about.
And like you said, the kind of social cohesion, that's, I like that. I must admit, I think that is a lot of shows should do that.
100%.
As hard as it can be.
Yeah, definitely. So that's, I guess covering that side of things. Then with your bikini, I mean, again, there's like major sort of bikini sponsors, I guess, that work with the WBFF that know, you know, the cuts of bikinis and the style that is suitable and that they like, which is Glam Fit Bikinis and All For Me. So as long as you go to one of those, I always say you can't get the cut of your bikini wrong. It's just then about, you know, finding a style that you like, that suits your personality, that suits your physique, you know, bringing out your strengths and hiding your weaknesses and everything like that. So
Can you do you have a lot of influence on that? I know I actually went All For Me. I remember going in, and you know, the lady was really good. She's like, okay, like try these on, and she was like that, and I'm like, really, this? And she's like, yeah, and I'm just like, okay, and it was I wasn't really sure. Do you have a bit of a say, or is there any prerequisites at all, or you can go, no, I want it cut here, I want it to be higher here, I want it to be lower there?
100%.
Do you have and this is a big one, do you have any pro tips on color? And what your opinion is? Maybe I'm giving away too much, because I know you probably got all your stuff ready for this year. For me, and you may disagree with this, I always go less because I think it's more. I think when you go too much, it takes away from the physique, but I also like to double blind everyone and go, well, if everyone's going to turn up in something pretty extravagant, if I go something really simple,
Yeah.
like black, but a really good black,
Yeah.
it just cuts through.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. So I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if you've got a bias or a preference, or like where you'd be like, okay, think about this, this, and this element.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you're on the stage, the
Yeah.
eye is drawn, you know, it can add a percent or so.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, like I've always chosen more simple bikinis, but effective. I don't like, on me personally, too much dangly here and there. I just find it takes away, especially my focus with my posing, because I'm worrying about maybe where something's falling and whatnot. But in saying that, I mean, some of those bikinis look absolutely incredible on the stage. So again, it just literally comes down to, I think, what you're drawn to and what's going to suit you, but definitely make sure, you know, it suits your posing and yeah, definitely. But with colours and whatnot, obviously there's like, you know, certain colours and stuff that do stand out a little more on stage, but again, think of like your features, your complexion against the tan and all of that sort of thing as well. Like I've gone, all my bikinis have been kind of like similar-ish colours, but I've just changed it up a little bit. But yeah, who knows what I might do this time. We'll have to just wait and see.
Exactly. There's a little cheeky cliffhanger for you.
Yes, yeah, I'm pretty excited for this next one. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good day, that's for sure.
It
We'll
will
all be there.
Yeah, getting your bikini is so damn exciting. Like, especially like, you know, when you're getting through those like harder last, you know, couple of months of prep, the day that your bikini comes is literally like just lights your fire again, and it's just, yeah, it's so exciting.
It's like it's like a checkpoint along the way.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
almost like, because when you're getting leaner, you have to rely on more external
Yeah.
cues to kind of elicit the internal. Obviously, people are different. Some people are very intrinsically motivated, but
Yeah.
there are all of those things that help, and also like the look, the aesthetic as well.
Yeah.
Towards the end, you know, you feel a bit like death, and
Yeah.
you're missing out. And then sometimes you get to look at your physique, and you're like,
Yeah.
and it's because you're assessing yourself all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're very critical, but then you'll see something new. You're like, oh, didn't see that line there, didn't see that cut there.
Yeah.
And that kind of keeps you going.
Yeah, it
and
really
the things
does.
like you said,
Yeah.
your bikini arriving, because you're like, well, I can't back out now. Like,
No.
you know, this is it.
Yeah, 100%. It's so exciting. And just some of the creations the girls come up with, especially like who I go through with Glam Fit, they're just absolutely incredible. So yeah, but they're totally open. Like you can tell them exactly what you want, or you can like I know a lot of girls literally just say create whatever you want. So yeah,
For sure.
they're open to do whatever you want.
Yeah, maybe put some links in the description for
Yeah.
people. But I like you
Yeah.
said, at least there's only kind of 2 here in Australia at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
So it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I know they're always at the shows when we went.
Yeah.
We were there the other couple of weekends ago.
Yeah.
Posing. Mm-hmm. In your opinion, how critical is it?
Yeah.
Advice you'd offer to others?
Yeah.
And do you also offer coaching? Do you coach other women and other competitors? Do you show them? Is this a service you offer? Or where do you go for your posing? Or whatever you're comfortable with sharing?
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Posing is definitely so, I cannot stress how important your posing is. Like, it's not just about like who has the best physique up there on the day, it's about how you can show it off. And again, same with, you know, when you're choosing your bikini with your posing, like focusing on your strengths and hiding your weaknesses, just really nailing that stage presence and just owning it and being confident and just, yeah, you walk out on that stage like it's already yours.
Yeah.
So, definitely recommend with posing, like getting that started, working on that, like the sooner the better. Like it doesn't matter if you're, 18 months to 2 years out from a show, like start as soon as you possibly can because it makes all the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm going to second that one.
Yeah.
People who listen will probably know, but
Yeah.
I started years out, and it pays massive dividends because
Yeah.
it's actually quite hard if you're not good in front of the camera, you're not posed before.
Yeah.
One, it's very fatiguing.
It is.
And two, it's the last thing you want to be doing.
Yeah.
Before, that's the like when you're getting towards the end, you have limited brain capacity.
Yeah.
That's just one ingredient you don't want to have to worry about.
Exactly.
It's just one less thing you go, look, I've got it down. Yes, I'm still going to practice it,
Yeah.
but it becomes autonomous. It becomes comfortable.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's all about the look, and people can tell if you're like, it takes a lot of effort to become effortless.
Yes, 100%.
So like, you might walk out and you go, oh, that looks kind of easy, but then you do it and you're like, well, you can tell you're really concentrating and you've got it wrong. And You know, I think that shows, especially because now, you know, you're competing as a pro, so I imagine the expectation is a little bit higher to be able to deliver on that day. What about, let's run through a day in the life of like when you're in prep mode versus a day in the life now when you're not in prep mode, or not yet. I don't think we're in prep mode yet,
not
are we?
Quite,
not
almost.
Quite, almost, because I'd like to compare those two. I find they're always really insightful and people are always really interested. So for example, talk us through like when you get up, kind of, you know, what meals you're having, and we can talk macros because people just love that sort of stuff. They really do. And then obviously your training, and we can get into more specific questions, but give us a bit of a run through and a comparison.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about, I guess, you know, when you're first getting into like the first half of a prep, I feel like not that much changes. Like, I mean, I'm always practicing my posing in my off season because that's, you know, one of the biggest things I've wanted to work on is my, you know, posing and stage presence. So, you know, I'm forever working on that regardless of whether I'm in prep or in my off season. But then other than that, I find, you know, my training and nutrition doesn't really change that much. It's just more controlled and obviously being a lot more accurate with my macros and what I'm eating. Like people, I guess, that don't really understand that much will be like, oh, you know, when are you starting prepping? You know, when do you have to start giving up this and doing that? I'm like, nothing really changes. Like I'll still train, you know, 5 days a week. I'm still, you know, obviously my steps when I do prep will become higher, but you know, I'm still always tracking steps and making sure I'm moving my body and everything like that. So it's sort of, I find more through, I guess, the second half of prep where, you know, your steps are going up higher, you are putting even more time into your posing and getting everything organized. It is a lot harder then, I guess, to manage time and things like that. You plus trying to work and, you know, especially for me, prepping for season B, I'm also in my busiest time with my business at the same time. So time management is not really one of my strongest points, but I've had to learn to. And again, that'll probably be another learning curve for me this time as well. So yeah, I mean, aside from that, just I guess when I'm in an off season, still always tracking my food, but it's just nice to be able to, you know, be a bit more loose with your food and eat extra donuts and
yeah, we'll get to the donuts
donuts
later.
Are life.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, gains.
Yeah. So I guess aside, like long story short, I guess just, you know, being more accurate and controlled and everything with your, mostly with your nutrition, because, you know, I'm always training hard regardless, you know, off season or prep. It's, yeah. Yeah,
there's a bit of a misconception there, isn't it? Because like you said, a lot of people think there's this clear-cut change.
Yeah.
And although there is along the way, it's really, I mean, think, you know, based on the coaching that you've had with Richo, like you understand the science. You don't. Like you lower your calories, you still have flexibility where possible. Obviously that gets limited towards the end of a prep. You try and maintain as much muscle mass as possible by maintaining strength and volume. And people are like, oh, you just look bigger. You're like, but you're actually getting smaller. And I think that's probably surprises a lot of people just because of the misinformation. Where we're like, oh, right, so you're just doing loads of high reps, cutting all your volume. Now you're just eating no carbs. It's like, no. We're not on the fucking bro diet here.
Exactly.
Let's just fucking we're going to add tools in when we can. And this is probably a really good area to segue or jumping off point into like misconceptions. The biggest misconceptions that you come up against most from the girls you speak to, so I imagine it's mostly a female audience, could be wrong, when it comes to dieting or even training and how you have helped people. Like for me, I'll use an example, people think that they have to do excessive amounts of cardio as a physique athlete. It's obviously a really common one, but as we know, it's like, well, you want to have a training stimulus which is congruent to your adaptation and outcome. So if we always do cardio, like we don't really going to look like a physique athlete, are we? So I don't know, what are some of the things or the questions you get? And it could be anything, nutrition, that you get on social media or in person, and you know, what are the biggest misconceptions and how do you slay them?
I think one of the biggest ones I always get is just, again, going back to nutrition. You know, people like saying to me, you know, oh, when do you have to stop eating that? Or, you know, you're not allowed to eat this or you're not allowed to eat that. I'm like, you can literally eat whatever you want. However, you've got to be smart with your choices when your calories are low. Like, I could go and eat half a jar of Nutella if you really wanted to. However, you're not going to have much left to eat for the rest of the day.
It's not the best choice.
No, definitely not. So in that case, it's not that you aren't allowed to eat it or that you can't eat it, but you want to make, when your calories are low, you want to feel as full as you can utilizing the calories that you have. So, therefore you are going to choose, make more wiser choices with your food and things like that. So that's probably, I guess, one of the biggest ones I get. And again, going back to training, people are like, oh, you're prepping now, you must be training really hard. I'm like, well, the training hard's already happened. So
that's, if anything, it's harder in the season.
100%. So they're probably just the main ones that I can think of at the top of my head. So
for sure. I think there's always that stigma and that crossover. But again, I just think that's the industry. People are starting to wise up to it now, I think, with more information, but there's obviously always confusing elements out there because there are still people or coaches who enroll that old school element of it's like, it's got to be hard. Like, prep doesn't have to necessarily feel hard all of the time.
Not all the time,
I mean, it definitely will. And, there's this kind of concept we talk about, like embracing the suck. And at some point, it's like, you know what? That's kind of why it's worth it. You don't get the pleasure without the pain. Like anything worth having takes effort and discomfort, right? That's what makes it rewarding in some respects. Let's talk about your training then. Talk us through what your training looks like, as a bikini athlete in WBFF, because I think this is also going to, this in itself is going to slay a lot of misconceptions, because I obviously see you train here, do a lot of the compound movements, you lift some decent weight. I know you've been working around some injuries. If you like, you can talk about that. But run us through, because I know a lot of people would be really interested to sort of understand how you train and maybe talk about some of the methodologies behind that. Because am I right in saying Richo does your programming at the minute? Yeah. And then who's doing your nutrition, or is he doing everything?
No, Richo does my training and Nath Wallace does my nutrition for prep. So
and they're the people who are you obviously because obviously me and Nathan's also been on the podcast, guy. Another banger episode. We actually talked about female training. So they've been your go-to people throughout all the comps.
The whole time. They've always been my coaches. So
and they I can see why. High class. This is what we want.
Exactly right. But
let's talk training.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know proper terms and everything, because I'm not a PT. I don't.
Well, if you're not going to talk in anatomical terms, forget it.
But I mean, I guess just, my main focus.
Layman's terms. Trust me, we're not trying to fucking overcomplicate this shit. We're trying to simplify it.
Yes. No, I've always done a stronger split with my lower body. Like, I think back when I first started prepping, I was just always on, I think, 2 lower. I actually can't even remember. I've at the moment and for a long, long time, I've always been on like 3 lower.
Makes sense.
And 2 upper. I used to train my upper body like really hard. I just wanted really, really good shoulders, which I achieved, but then I obviously had to then, try and balance out my lower body a bit more. So now, I still train my upper body, but have pulled that back a lot. My main focus is just lower body, like building those glutes, building those hamstrings, and just, so that when I do lean down, everything just pops and it's, So that's literally been my main focus is just, firm, tight, big glutes.
That's the thing. Oh, it's all about the glutes.
It's all about, and that's for any, any competitor. I think that's what everybody wants.
Well, I think also females, right? It's a massive, sometimes a bit too much emphasis for some people.
I actually got asked this morning on a job by one of the girls there if my bum was real. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, no,
I'm not going to lie. When I first came to the Gold Coast, I also got asked that. I used to do topless waitering. So just full disclaimer, right? And I was very naive. I was still very young. And these girls were like, oh, like you've got arse implants. And now, I'm naive. I've been living in New Zealand for 10 years on top of the hill next to fucking cows and shit. So I'm I'm not aware of all the cosmetics that go on. And like you, I think because people assume that I've always been like this, like bottom heavy or like had good legs, and I was a stick. Like I am only, for people who don't know, people think I'm actually quite tall. I'm only 5'6". Like I'm small, and I've ridden bikes. I didn't like do it competitively, but I had a BMX and I just used to doing the jumps. And in New Zealand it was really hilly, so like we didn't think about it as exercise. It was just fun. And so I just ridden, and then I look back now because I understand how it works. And I was like, oh right, that's probably why I developed good legs, because I was just like, I'm talking fucking hours and years of just cycling with one gear in a BMX bike on a hill, which is like you need a road bike for that. And yeah, I got asked that same question, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's not a thing. And the girl's like, yeah, it's a thing. And I was just like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah.
And yeah, same thing. But
Yeah.
I mean, take it as a compliment.
Yeah, I'll do it. But
This is good.
I always look at it as well. Everyone's like, oh, your glutes have changed a lot. I'm like, I mean, well, they definitely should have because I've been training them enough. But,
Exactly.
I guess people compare it to when you were on stage last to now. And I'm like, well, when I'm on stage, I'm obviously my leanest. And now I'm, the heaviest I've ever been. So there's going to be quite a big change, visual change in them at the moment.
And
so
obviously women hold most of their body fat there. So
yeah,
you can
exactly.
add that to the mix and it's just like you be popping.
Yeah, they're quite large, but hopefully they hold up and we can produce some good glutes when we start shredding down.
Here's a good question then.
Yeah.
Obvious probably for a few people who are in the know, but for people who don't, your best booty exercises, apart from maybe a barbell hip thrust, maybe talk us through some other variations.
Of hip thrusts?
Or like glute exercises that you like. You don't have to give away too many of your secrets.
No, you're right. Hip thrust is definitely
Just checking the camera's still on.
one of the
Just in case, guys.
in case.
Just because we upgraded the mic, so I'm just making sure.
better be safe.
And we'll have to do the whole podcast again. No, I'm joking. No, we're good.
Just lots of different variations of hip thrusts, like lower rep, higher weight. A lot of at the moment I'm doing a lot of 3-pulse hip thrusts. Single leg ones I've done. I've always loved deadlifting as well. That's always been a favorite exercise of mine. But yeah, I guess just mixing it up and just finding, exercises, that are beneficial, but that you also, enjoy doing as well. Yeah.
It's true. I think I've kind of asked you that for a purpose there as well, because you've played well into the hands where I wanted you to go with that, but like simplicity in terms of you don't have to overcomplicate it, and you can do a lot with a little. Like 100%. You don't have to keep reinventing and making up exercise. You just go, right, do a hip thrust, I do it off a high box, I do it off a low box. Now I might do a pause, like you said, high rep, low rep, different things, and then obviously the main key movements, right? Squat variations, hip hinge variations. Like I do feel, and please, I'd love your 2 cents on this. One of the biggest things I see with females is they do what I call garbage volume, where they're doing a lot of things which offer a very low return on investment, i.e. like too many cables, or they'll prioritize just bands, but they're not actually using enough weight on like a barbell movement. So they're not getting enough mechanical tension in the muscle, and they just do that like 5 days a week. And it's a shame, and they shy away from like doing a heavy deadlift or doing a heavier squat or a box squat or whatever it is, amongst other free weight and compound movements, thinking that perhaps, I'm going to get too big and bulky, which is obviously not the case.
Definitely
So maybe
not.
you can kind of speak to that a little bit.
Oh God, I feel like I don't know how to answer that properly. Definitely I think compound movements, your big compound heavy lifts make, all the difference in it. Like that's what I, even before I was training to compete or anything, like I just wanted to be strong. Like, I mean, I did, before I understood things, I was like, I don't want to do this or do that because I don't want to get bulky. But, most girls, any girls that train really hard, like, it's not that easy to grow muscles. So get in there and, lift and pull those heavy weights because, not just that, you've definitely got to, mix it up and do all your accessory work and stuff as well with it, but
I think though, and we're going to get a bit dark here now. We're going to get a little bit dark.
Okay.
Right? And I'm going to ask you some pointed-ended questions.
Yeah.
I think that stigma comes from girls who take performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
And that is where the girls will get big and bulky. And remember, everyone's kind of got their own ideology of that.
Yeah.
Do you believe, because of the industry you're in with the WBFF, and the elephant in the room is we're going to be competing against people who are enhanced? Yeah. Have you ever had any pressure to do any of that? Have you ever thought about doing any of that? And have you ever had sort of people, I guess, come up to you and ask about, hey, like, should I do this? Should I do that? And do you think there's a lot of pressure for women in that WBFF to do it? Because sometimes I have found girls who are using, and they still actually don't look almost like they're using as well. People go, they can't be on it. And I'm like, well, actually, they could be. Or as we know, with like you can already tell with the coaches that you have, and obviously I know Matt and Richo really well, what is possible natural. And this is not to demoralize anyone. Like I always say, guys, whatever you choose is up to you. But I'm very big on educating people to understand, hey, there is a way you can do it naturally,
Yeah.
and you can fucking achieve a lot naturally.
Yeah.
And then obviously, if you want to be fucking Mr. Olympia, then you know,
100%.
there's
Yeah.
kind of only one way to get there to a degree if you want to
Yeah.
get on the enhanced stage.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think, you know, it's necessary, but like you said, each to their own. And there's so many athletes out there, you know, that put a lot of content out there and show you what you can achieve naturally. Like some of the best physiques I've ever seen, you know, are all natural physiques as well. So you don't need those sorts of things to, especially for bikini, to achieve that sort of, you know, yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a bit more prevalent as well in higher populations, you know,
Yeah.
even though like Gold Coast is big on cosmetics and
Yeah.
aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's true that they have an international one though. We talked about this the other day. I'm still getting
Yeah.
to grips with WBFF, but there is an international show, isn't there?
With WBFF?
Yeah. Like for the pros of the pros.
Yeah, so they have all the like the same shows internationally like we do here, like the amateur shows and then the pro-am shows, but then you've got, I guess, the world.
That's the one.
The world show as well. Yeah, yeah. Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like as in like there'll be other federations or the WBFF, they'll have it like said in LA or Tokyo or something, I don't know. Something
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
when they have the worlds on.
Yeah, yeah.
They change locations, is that right?
Yeah, it's different location all the time. Yeah.
Who are then the people that inspire you the most in your industry, or actually it could even be out the industry as well? I don't know, you might look up to other people, but yeah, maybe some of the athletes that you really like look up to that inspire and motivate you.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I
Put you on
guess
the
just
spot.
yeah. I just think like, you know, all the pros and everyone in general that are up there are just all so inspiring to watch. You know, and everyone, you know, wants a chance at that world stage and to get up there. Like it's definitely been like you know, depending on what happens with COVID, but it would be, you know, an absolute dream of mine to be able to get on a world stage and step up there with, you know, the likes of, you know, Rachel Dillon, Lauren Simpson, like Gigi, all of those incredible bikini athletes. So yeah, I guess to a certain degree, like, you know, that's where sort of what got me into, you know, leaning towards WBFF more anyway. So yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if I answered that properly, but
Oh, it doesn't. Well, it's whatever
Yeah.
it is to you at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
It's always hard. It's like when someone asks you your favorite film. Sometimes you're like, let me get back to you on that one.
Yeah.
And then later on, you're like, because you're thinking about too many. And then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this, and this,
Yeah.
and this. But like you said, you might not have a particular person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not
It doesn't,
really,
you don't,
like-
some people don't go, oh, it's, you know, this is my idol. It
Yeah,
might just
no.
be people who you know or don't know who inspire you, but it's not necessarily, like people always ask me all the time from England,
yeah.
who's your favourite football team? And it's like, well, I've got to kind of go with X team, but I was into motor racing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't really go. And even then in motor racing,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I have a preference, but I'm like, may the best driver win. I just enjoy the sport.
Yeah, exactly right.
And people
yeah.
who do well, I respect them.
Yeah, yeah. Even just like, you know, my friends and, you know, other girls that, you know, I compete with and other pros as well. Like I feel, you know, to a certain degree, like, you know, you just take a little bit away from everybody and then, you know, I feel like you should always get some sort of inspiration from, you know, your friends especially as well. So yeah.
This is
Yeah.
very true. Very
Yeah.
true.
You
And
should all
obviously
inspire
develop
each
friends.
other.
Well, that's it. You got to live.
Yeah.
No one wins the game alone. And
Yeah.
the physique sport world can be quite pessimistic sometimes.
Yeah.
Very bitchy. I can imagine it can be the same probably with the females. I'm making assumptions here, but you know, no one wins the game alone.
Yeah.
And like we're all here for the same reason. Like I've often found that in the powerlifting community, everyone's a lot more welcoming and like chill, and there's less ego, and it's weird because they're actually fucking really strong.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then sometimes you go in the physique industry, and there's just a couple of people who like on the day, like some people are a bit more reserved, but they can be a bit funny. Or
Yeah.
it's like guys, like it's like now in the gym. We're all in here for
Yeah.
the same ultimate goal,
Yeah.
to look and feel better. Like if
Yeah.
we had to just generalize it,
Yeah.
we all want to look and feel better. So like,
100%.
if anything, we probably have a lot in common to a degree. Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't we all kind of be singing from the same hymn sheet? Like we're all trying to achieve the same goal, so let's
Yeah.
build each other up.
Yeah, exactly right. I don't see the point behind in like this point in cattiness and bitchiness. It's just like exactly like what you said. We're all here for the same thing. Like, you know, we've all been through it. Especially like if you're talking a comp day, like everybody wants to win. Everybody's worked hard. Everybody deserves it. So you know, you may as well. Everybody's done the hard work, so you may as well just, you know, all get along and just all have a good day, make the most of it. And that's another thing, you know, going back to what I love about WBFF. I love that whole, you know, camaraderie of, you know, everyone being friendly to each other, and the fact that you're not allowed to have coaches or, you know, family or anyone backstage as well. It just forces people, it forces you to make friends. And
Are you allowed one person or no?
No.
No, nothing.
No, nothing.
So it just yells through you. What's I've not been to the back of a WBFF stage.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've not competed in that as yet. Maybe in the future. Maybe.
Yeah.
What's it like? Like, do you have a big seating area? Are you all sort of stood there? Can you just, like, anyone can go anywhere? Like, do they have like food there for you guys? Because obviously you can get
food.
they do?
Yeah,
Because you can get your tan touched up. So you're right next to that table. Eh?
Yeah.
Right next to the fucking donuts. Yeah. I'll be sitting right here.
No, definitely. So we'll get back to that.
Yeah, we will. We're going to come back to the food questions.
Yes. Backstage at a WBFF show is amazing. So there's they have, it's like a bit upstairs, downstairs there. So there's like an area for all the guys and there's all different rooms up there for them. And then they've got all the females in another area. But you sort of just go in, you find a spot. Like you can go in there with your friends if there's a bunch of you, or you can literally go into any room and set up your things for the day and, just make friends with whoever's around you. And it's just a really, really beautiful experience. And really good way to, make friends and get to know people. So.
That is good. I think that would be, like, in a lot of shows we mentioned earlier, that'd probably be a good thing. To have that set up a bit more. Obviously, I understand it can be hard because the way different shows work, there's different interventions that need to be there. But again, that's probably good to build that camaraderie between people and get people on there. It probably even has a positive effect on the stage.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you're kind of going out there and you're like, we'll have a chat to a few of these people. Like, it's kind of cool. Like, we're all here. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's have a bit of banter, which is good.
Yeah, definitely.
Macros, bro question. People love this.
Yeah.
What are your current macros, Lenise?
I'm probably sitting at
There's no magic macros, guys.
I'm probably averaging around 21 to 2200 at the moment. Still being a little bit more flexible with things at the moment. I'm not really worried about dieting until I have to actually diet because obviously you're still in a building phase. So
maximize that muscle growth, right?
100%. I will definitely take advantage of having extra room for donuts. So the one thing I care about.
This is a
when
common
it comes
trend.
to my food. One of the main things I enjoy about being in an off season is being able to fit in those donuts. So I'd probably say I average about 21 to 2200 calories at the moment. And then, we'll have to see when I actually start dieting. Generally,
what's the protein, fat, carbs? Because if I don't ask that, people will be like, that's for macros.
I haven't even looked at it in so long. I think my protein at the moment's around about the 140 mark. This is just taking a guess without looking. I think
you got a flexible approach.
Yeah.
So it's all good. Just estimates is fine.
Yeah, I think my fats probably sit around 65 to 70, and my carbs probably say around 230 to 250 at the moment. So
let's go into this then. What's run us through food, like your breakfast to last meal. And again, I know it's different and flexible, but you'd be surprised. At least people love this bloody question. People like to know because they look up to you and they're like, what does she eat? People are just interested. It's funny. It's why on YouTube, literally the most watched videos, even my videos, are food videos.
Yeah, I always get asked, if I ever put a question poll up on my Instagram, food, I'm like, I swear I just eat the same shit all the time.
People are still interested. And I guess disclaimer, there is people know on this channel, there's no magic, but I guess for people who are interested, give us a run through. Donuts.
Yeah, sounds about nice. But there's definitely donuts in there.
No joke.
At the moment, my go-to breakfast, I've just been having like sandwich thins or a low-calorie bread with egg whites, bit of ham, cream cheese is my thing at the moment too, and tomato sauce. I love that meal at the moment for my brekkie.
I'm all about tomato sauce.
Yeah, love a good sauce.
People are like, ooh, barbecue, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm a tomato sauce man.
Yeah. I mean, I like both, depends what I'm having, but on my eggs and my
Heinz 57.
Yeah. I'm going to skip straight from my breakfast to my dinner at the moment because I kind of base my day around those things and then everything else just fits in between whatever I feel like. So my go-to dinners at the moment, I've just been literally loving a good eye fillet steak. That's what I've been loving at the moment. I never really was that much of a red meat eater, but probably in the last 12 months or so, been getting into that a bit more. But lately just getting me a good eye fillet, some nice chips and a good pepper sauce. I've been loving that for my dinners at the moment.
Do you use the... Ooh, cramp, just trying chest. It's all right. Crisis averted. That's a good pump.
Yeah.
Do you use the air fryer?
Look,
See, I've not had a go on that, but I feel like it's... I'm sorry, I'm going to offend some people. I think it's a bit overrated. I'm just saying.
Look, I completely agree. I have one. Maybe I need to experiment with it more. I don't know. Like, nothing against it, but like I don't know. Like I love it for cooking like chips and like fries, that sort of thing. Like I couldn't do it without it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to cooking things, like, you know, I see so many people like cooking. Like one thing I tried to nail cooking in the air fryer was just some fucking pumpkin, and I could not nail it. Like everyone was like, oh, you just chuck it in here and cook it for this time on this degrees, and I was like, I swear, like it's still coming out like hard, like I still can't get it right. And then people would tell me to, you know, microwave it for a few minutes before. I'm like, literally by the time I do all these steps, I could have cut it up once and put it in the oven for the same amount of time. So that's where I'm like, I don't know, maybe having a different type of air fryer.
Fucking comment below if you've got the pro tips for us.
Yeah,
comment
I don't know, but
in the YouTube section, and maybe we're fucking getting this wrong.
I don't know, but
I just grill it. I'm like, it works.
Yeah, but for, like I said, for chips, like, or, you know, I cook Matt loves wedges at the moment for his dinner every night. So for that kind of thing, like 100%, I haven't actually tried cooking meat in it. I don't know.
Apparently you can do everything in it, but like...
you can, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. But I mean, don't knock it till you try it, right?
Exactly.
So, and then, just going back to my food for like meals that I use to fill in my day for lunches and stuff. Like I don't know if you've seen that wrap hack on Instagram. I saw it heaps of times, and then I just became obsessed with it, where you've got like the round, like a wrap, and then you kind of cut it from the middle to one side, and then you you break it up into like I think 3 different sections, and then you kind of like fold it and then just toast it on each side. And it's like a good way of having a wrap, and you can like jam pack so much stuff in it.
Oh right, I'll have to look. No.
Yeah, I've got on my Instagram page. I think I uploaded it. Yeah, I did upload it. It's a little just like a post on my feed of it. I think it's called like Toasty Wrap or something like that. I definitely can't take credit for that idea. I saw it everywhere all over Instagram, but then I just came up with my own little combo. So I've been having that with like, I've been loving like shredded turkey breasts at the moment. So I've just been making like those with the turkey, like tomato, spinach leaves, bit of cheese, and that's where the barbecue sauce comes into it.
Different sauces, different meats.
Different and those have been really good too, because I'm somebody who loves like, I don't like doing like a meal prep once or twice a week and reheating. I'm just not like that. I like to have my meals fresh.
That's probably a good point.
Yeah.
Because everyone's different. Yeah.
As much as I possibly can. So I find this like wrap thing's actually really good, you know, when I'm busy and I'm working, you know, 12 to 14 hour days with my clients on a weekend. Like I find like toasting up this wrap and just putting it in alfoil and just keeping it in a cooler, I can actually take it out and still enjoy it cold and like pre-prepared. So that's a good little tip if you, I guess, struggle with that.
Hot tip. Pre-post workout nutrition. Donuts.
What did you say?
Donuts.
Oh, donuts.
Well,
I thought you said omelets. I was like,
that'd be more pre, I guess. But yeah, do you have any like go-tos, or you just whatever you got?
Yeah, whatever I've got, really. Like, I mean,
because people know I'm the Pop-Tart guy.
Yeah.
But I can't claim that, but you know, I'm the Pop-Tart guy.
Yeah, Pop-Tarts are great. I haven't had them in years.
Fucking humble Pop-Tart. You know, Woolworths do them now, and they're always on special for like $4.
Yeah.
I was gonna spare Pop-Tarts. So.
Yeah, Pop-Tarts are great.
They are life.
Yeah.
There's no magic, by the way, guys. People are like, oh, get shredded. It's like, no.
Yeah.
It's just, do you know what though? I was saying to a friend, because he asked me, he goes, oh, I ended up buying them this and the other. And I said, yeah. And he goes, people at work were like commenting like, oh, like you shouldn't be eating that, you know. And it's like, well, if you understand nutrition and allergy balance, like you can definitely incorporate it. But the thing is, I said to him, I said, look, the reason why I actually got it is not because I have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons. But the main reason is I literally, in terms of, it's convenient. You can eat it really fast, right? It obviously digests fast. It's high sugar. It doesn't go off very quickly. Doesn't make much of a mess apart from some crumbs. Like you don't need to prepare it. Like it ticks all of these boxes. It's literally about 75 to 80 grams of carbs, bang. 7 to 10 grams of fat depending on the flavor, and I think it's like 4 or 5 trace grams of protein. Like I cannot think of anything that I can get with that much ease in that time and that quick, and I can like, because I'm on the go. So for me, I actually tell people like it's a convenience thing. And I'm on a lot of calories. So I'm just like bang that in, sits well, straight in there. I can digest in half an hour and I'm training.
Amazing,
So, you know, but anyway, I don't know what pre-workout maybe hacks or foods you like.
I love having, at the moment as well, I love a good cereal.
Oh yeah.
And having it with like a lot of my Muscle Nation proteins are just so amazing. Like just mixing up like, a little bit like a protein shake and having it, over a good cereal. Like my favorite probably 2 cereals to go to for that is either just your good old Crunchy Nut cornflakes. And I love, my other favorite cereal is the American Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like I love that cereal. And I know they do like a version of that from Woolies now, but they come in like churro versions and they're still really good, but I don't think they're as sweet as actually a Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
So me and Brie did a whole cereal box challenge. So a whole box of cereal, and I chose that.
The churro one?
The churro one. Yeah. But like people who've watched it, they'll know, but like FYI, way too cinnamony. I like cinnamon,
really?
but it fucking kills you. Like it was good.
Yeah, okay.
It's good, but then it was like a bit too much cinnamon. But then again, we had a whole box, so... and she had Crunchy Nut, so we had both of your favourites.
Oh, well, there you
Literally.
go.
And then we like halfway through swapped. But we had a mad sugar rush afterwards.
Yeah,
but
100%
I think
you would.
the Cinnamon Crunch American one is probably a little bit more balanced.
I think it's just sweeter, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's more sugar, less cinnamon, like bit
more. So when I can actually get hold of that, I know it's a lot more expensive to buy the American ones. I was like, that doesn't really bother me. It's just hard to get them. Like, I don't want to drive all the way into Surfers to go to those like shops. We need another one. I think we used to have a shop here in the town centre that stocked it. I was eating Captain Crunch, the peanut butter one back in the day too. That's a really good. All the American cereals, so good, so good. But so that's probably like having that with my like protein shake poured over the top is a really good way to get in your carbs and protein as well as a pre-workout. So
this is true. This is true. This is probably a good segue before we get into the last section of questions, which are a bit fun, is actually talking about sponsorship. So Muscle Nation is one. I don't know if you have any others. Is that's the only one? Maybe talk us through that, how that happened. And I know a lot of people, a lot of athletes are so focused sometimes on being sponsored athletes that they kind of forget the whole premise around like aligning themselves with what they actually want to do. And obviously companies that kind of align with them. So maybe talk us through that kind of affiliation and how that happened, and maybe offer some advice for athletes out there who want to get legitimate sponsorships in a way which aligns with their beliefs a little bit more, rather than just being like, oh, I just want to, like, people get offered everything and they just start promoting everything and you're like, well, hang on a minute. Like, as long as it aligns, but,
100%. Look, well, I would never promote something that I didn't already love and wear myself. So I was always, already obsessed with Muscle Nation. It's something like a product and apparel that I always wore. And then it was always a dream for me to, end up with that sponsorship to become a Muscle Nation athlete. But initially it didn't work out like straight away. I was approached by another company and I wasn't, I guess, quite ready for, Muscle Nation just yet. So it all, like, everything happens for a reason. It all happens, like, everything happens the way it's meant to be. Because, I was only sort of, I think it was only after my first pro show when I was with another company initially, and I wasn't, that confident at talking on my Instagram and promoting all that sort of stuff. So, that was a really good stepping stone for me to, prepare myself, to become, the perfect Muscle Nation athlete and candidate for them to, sign up. So it put me in my comfort zone and got me confident and learning to talk to a camera and, show off, my favorite products and whatnot. And then, I guess when the timing was right, I got approached by the girls at Muscle Nation again, and I think I literally just went away and cried because I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, it's my dream. It's literally been on like my dream and goal board, and it eventually happened. So
Who are, I mean, excuse my ignorance, but who are I think I know some of the girls behind it, but is it created by just females?
No,
is it
so
Rachel Dillon's or what? I don't know.
Of Muscle Nation?
Or is it not? I don't. Again, I'm sorry.
No.
People are like, what? I'm like, I'm not.
No, the owners are Chris and Nate. They're, they're amazing. So the girls I'm dealing with are like the athlete managers and stuff like that. So So I was approached by them and. Obviously, gotten to know the girls over the years from, being such a good customer from Muscle Nation. And
I spent enough with you guys, come on. Hook a sister up.
It was amazing. They're absolutely incredible. So, very, very lucky girl. Very lucky. Very lucky and grateful.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Gratitude is really huge.
Dream come true.
Very good. Always good when you can tick one off the old bucket list, that's for
Definitely,
sure.
yeah.
And it aligns with kind of, I guess, your training and you're
Yeah.
already wearing the product. So if you're wearing
you'll
it,
see me in.
you're kind of already like promoting it, right?
Yeah, unless I'm like literally going out on the town, like literally Muscle Nation's all you'll
Gym
see me
gear.
in. And you know what, actually, I've even dressed up my my like Muscle Nation booty shorts when I'm lean, not at this stage right now, but I've dressed up my Muscle Nation booty shorts and worn them out into town before. So, you know, you might even catch me in Muscle Nation.
There you go.
When I'm out on the town. Who knows?
There you go. What are you drinking? Waters.
Yeah.
Why comp prep?
Yeah. I think this was actually one after my last show too. So
Oh, nice,
yeah,
yeah.
I was definitely not on the waters.
Yeah, donuts and all the vodka lime
Yeah.
sodas or whatever it is. Probably cocktails. Now, what do you drink? What do you like actually? You wine?
I am a red wine girl. I do like my red
There you go.
wines.
There's the Italian in you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I sort of have changed what I drink over the years, but yeah, I'm honestly
Depends
not
on the occasion as well.
Yeah, aside from like, they've really upped the game with the sugar-free cruises at the moment, so that's my go-to. I love those, they're so good.
This is true.
But other than that, I actually hate vodka. You'll never catch me drinking vodka, I don't like it, so.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, red wine gal otherwise.
You can't go wrong with a glass of red,
No,
that's for sure.
definitely not.
Especially with a nice steak or pasta.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Which leads me on to my first question. I have rapid fire questions, which I ask all my guests. A bit more fun in nature before the last question.
Yeah.
And the first one is, and we kind of already know, we
Yeah.
know what one of your favorite foods is. So I will ask it like this. If you could have like a last meal or your favorite kind of meal, which is like maybe entree, main, starter, and a drink, at this point in time, what would be your go-to as of now?
Right now, my entree, I love good arancini balls or a really nice, like, cheesy, buttery garlic bread. That'd probably be my go-to for an entree. A main would obviously be a good old pizza.
What flavour?
My favourite's actually, like when you go to a restaurant, you order the vegetarian pizza that's got like all the grilled like zucchini, like and capsicums and stuff, but the key is adding the prosciutto on the top.
Hey, now you're talking.
Yeah,
That's
that's my favourite kind of pizza. I froth it so much. Either that or a good gnocchi. Like, love me a good gnocchi. And then, yeah, dessert. We all know what I'm going to say there.
Specifically, what type though, and where from? If you, and remember, everything's on the table right now.
Yeah.
Because this is your like fantasy meal, right? So
Yeah.
like, you can get them from anywhere. Overseas, you can maybe combine some.
Oh, I've got
What would
so
you go
many
with?
favourites, like between donuts and like cookie pies.
Yeah, you introduced me to the cookie pies.
Yeah.
You fed me half of them last time we were around.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
good.
love me good
made
cookie
some
pies. Yeah, I don't know. I have like favorite donuts from like all different places really, but I love me a good, like I love filled donuts. Like something that's got like a nice custard or, you know, a salted caramel, a Nutella. I mean, and you can't go past a good Krispy Kreme, so yeah.
It's kind of like I'd go Krispy Kreme as a knee jerk because you can always get it.
Yeah.
Like it's an instance, like it's probably what people recognise. The
Yeah.
best donuts I've ever had, apart from Italy, and people wouldn't know because it's like a no-name shop. You just
Yeah.
go down to the bar and literally the cakes are just on tap, and,
Yeah.
and the gelato is amazing. It's
Yeah.
all really cheap, and it's just the highest quality.
Yeah.
But I actually went to this place in Sydney. It was a
Yeah.
friend of mine, Trav, and he took me in there. I think it's in the they call it like the business sector. I don't know, but anyway, I asked them, and they said that we're just one of a kind.
Yeah.
And they had all of these really unique, and they were big donuts, and they were like literally some of the best I ever had.
Oh,
yeah,
amazing.
we
You'll
just got
have
like
to-
5 and stuff. I'll try and find out. I'll ask Trav, he'll know what it is.
Yeah.
But they're iconic apparently in the area because he said, "Oh yeah, we should go here," and I said, "Well, I'm sold because I can see the look of them."
100%. Yeah. There was a place, I wish they had it on the Gold Coast. I tried them when I went to Brizzy a few months back. It was called Brooklyn Donuts.
Brooklyn Donut.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
right.
they have so many flavors to pick from.
That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, some of the, like I tried all of the flavors and, you know, some of them, you know, they were all like quite good. Obviously some better than others, but some, like the flavors that were good were fucking phenomenal. Like they definitely go down there as some of my favorites. So generally
in the like CBD area.
I think that, I don't know whether there's a few of them around, but the one we went to was at Chermside.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe?
Oh, so like they're a chain then?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll check
but there's just none down here on the Gold Coast.
There's an old Brooklyn Depot, but that's different.
Yeah,
Even
no.
though they do donuts, but it's different.
Yeah. But yeah, and I loved me that recent Biscoff Krispy Kremes that they had out. That was lit. That was really lit.
Yeah, Biscoff's a bit of a hit nowadays, eh?
Oh,
that
Biscoff's
and caramel.
life. Yeah. Yeah, I'm all about the Biscoff. Biscoff's life. When you combine Biscoff and donut, like you literally cannot go wrong.
So if you want to bribe Lenise, now you know what to do. All right, what about if you could choose a superpower? What would it be and why? Anything. Anything. You can make one up if you want.
Oh, God.
I know,
You're putting me on the spot here.
Literally, they're meant to be rapid fire. People are like, these are like literally the hardest questions. Because there's so much choice.
Does it count as a superpower if I wish that I could eat whatever I want and the calories didn't make me put on weight? Is that a superpower? Like I can eat all the donuts I want, but like my superpower is to make it only go to like my glutes or somewhere.
Or what the calories don't count, like they stop at like your threshold.
Yeah, something like that.
I'd say
if
that's
that counts
a
as
superpower. That's a nutritional superpower.
Yeah, I'll definitely choose something like that.
Well, funny thing is, so me and Josh Hampson, who was a coach at Hold Your Own,
yeah,
we had this conversation last time. I was in prep, and was it last time? Yeah, it was last time I was in prep. Anyway, it was training evening one night. It was pretty like deep into prep, and I was hungry. You know that hunger, like that next level hunger.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about it, and I said, Josh, I said, imagine like just imagine you could get calorie-free food.
Yeah.
That tasted exactly the same, but it had no calories. So it's kind of like what you're talking about, but from another angle.
Yeah.
So like, you could get a donut and it just zero.
Yeah.
But it tasted the same. It wasn't like crap.
Yeah.
And he goes, that'd be cool, but he goes, it actually wouldn't make you feel better. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, think about it. He's like, because it would need the calories to like give you the energy to kind of stop the hunger.
Yeah.
So he's like, it would actually be the worst torture. And I thought about it and I'm like, oh, you're fucking right.
Yeah.
So the way you've got it would be better because, like you said, you would get them, but like they just don't count.
Yeah,
or
like
you could just erase them.
Yeah, like
you're
you
no,
just like
fine.
wave your Harry Potter wand and be like, be gone.
Expelliarmus from whatever it is. I'm not. No, yeah, fuck. Fuck the Harry Potter fans. All two of you? No, I'm joking. I don't know. Actually, we referenced J.K. Rowling in the last one, which was pretty funny. My last question would be, if you could... Actually, no, let's not go with that one. Let's go with this one. Actually, yeah, if you go back in time and speak to your younger self, right, at any point in time where you think it's important or critical, and you just had like literally maybe just 2 minutes, what would be the advice that you would tell yourself if you could just give some hindsight and be like, hey, look, keep this in mind?
Put yourself out there and be confident. Don't be shy. I wish when I was younger that, I never was like so... I guess the right word would be insecure about, the way I looked. Just put yourself out there and just own it and, just be confident. Don't be shy.
Yeah,
Don't think negative things of yourself. And we've all been there and done that. But I was a very big culprit of that when I was younger. So just be confident in who you are and everything. So
yeah, I think that's a good one.
Definitely biggest piece of that's one thing I always wish that my, even 20, 21-year-old self knew. So, yeah.
This might lead into my last question that I ask all my guests. It's like my go-to. The iconic question is, can you identify a fear that you've had in your life or that you still have, what it was, what it is, and how you overcome it, if you have overcome it or if you're still working on it, and what you learned from that fear. For example, it doesn't have to be this, but public speaking is a real big one. Not that this is completely public. It is, but you guys are delayed on it. But it can be anything. It could be small, it could be big, whatever it means to you. And it could kind of be part of what you said there, like maybe being a bit reserved, but maybe there's something else that kind of means something to you.
God, nothing that I can think of at the top of my head. I guess like even just doing something like this, like you said, for me, like I'm not just using it because we're here doing it as an example, but I guess I've just always been like terrified of, talking, in front of a lot of people because, I don't want to stutter for words, or I'm like, oh my God, what if I say the wrong thing and I don't mean to, or so I guess just like, even going back to when I was saying, like learning how to put myself out there, even just talking on my Instagram, like I used to feel so stupid doing it, but I'm like who bloody cares? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it's just, maybe if I hadn't have gone through that and become confident at something like that, I wouldn't be confident enough to do something like this. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
no, for sure. I get it. And I think everyone deep down has that, right? Because it's
Yeah.
this fear of like making a fool of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we do. But then
Yeah.
we realize at some point, usually it comes with time and experience.
Yeah.
Some people figure it out earlier than others. But
Yeah.
we all make mistakes. And like
Yeah.
generally nothing bad ever happens.
No.
And then you go watch other people and you're like, oh yeah, like people like stutter or like they
Yeah.
don't get it perfect. And that's kind of what makes it human.
Yeah, exactly right.
And that's what I was saying to you before this.
Yeah.
It's good because it's about you.
Yeah,
There is no
exactly.
like comparison.
Yeah.
Really. It's like, well, this is your journey, your story, your podcast. It's whatever you come up with.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I think that's better than it being scripted and like, oh, cool. So how old are you now? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just like, I don't like that, and I
Yeah.
don't feel like they're the best conversations and podcasts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's cool. That's awesome. Maybe helping
Yeah.
you overcome some of those fears, which is
Yeah.
ever changing. And I don't think you can ever really, people say, oh, I get to this point, I don't care what anyone else thinks. It's like,
Yeah.
well, we always do,
Yeah.
but we just need to do it less.
Yeah, yeah.
And care maybe only about the people we care about what they think, because
Yeah.
that has a bearing. Like obviously your good family, your friends, your partners,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you should care about what they think to a degree. But people that don't have a bearing on your life, why give them the power to?
100%. That would
Disrupt.
be, I guess, another thing that I'd probably, going back to telling my younger self, is just like, if you don't value like that person's opinion, then who gives a shit what they think? Like, just as long as you're happy and the people you care about, you, I guess, value their opinion, then that's it. Doesn't matter about anything else.
For sure.
So,
And to modify the quote, lions don't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep.
Yes.
Apparently it's wolves, but we're going to go lions.
Yeah.
That's what we're about. Fearless here.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's probably quite a succinct and appropriate way to end what's been an insightful conversation and a bit of a
Yes.
peek inside your life and day-to-day
Yeah.
runnings and competitions, because I know loads of people will be familiar or interested, shall we say. So, Lenise, thank you for your time. I really
That's
appreciate
all right.
it.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Before we go,
Yeah.
for people who want to find out more, or if they want to reach out and ask a question, or
Yeah.
follow along on social, where are the best places to find you, and even for your makeup as well, for the girls who would like to, maybe recruit you for that?
Yeah, I've just got both of my Instagram pages would be the best way. Lenise Pattini is my personal page, and Lenise Pattini _makeup for my makeup business. So yeah, that'd be the best way for sure.
Easy. And as always, guys, I'll put those links in the description below. Lenise, thank you again for your time.
Thank
Pleasure.
you for having me.
Thank you for building the confidence up. Hopefully it wasn't
That's all
too
right.
painful.
No,
too
it was
painful.
fine.
It's
It
all
was
right,
good.
eh?
No, it was
Yeah.
good.
It's always feel
Really
better
good.
when it's done. You're like,
Yeah.
it wasn't so bad. Let's go again.
Yeah. So when are we scheduling the next one?
Yeah, well, hey, part 2, maybe after season B, right?
Yes, very much so.
Guys, watch
I'd
this
like that.
space, and all the best, Lenise. I
Thank
will
you
be
very
there,
much.
of course, supporting
Thank you.
It's going to be very exciting.
Your support means the world.
Exactly. Well, it's all about it, right? You got to get behind the
Exactly.
friends and fam.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it makes me well up when people tell me, that they're going to come and watch the show, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll be there to support you." I'm like, "Oh my god, really? Thank you so much." It's very exciting. So
yeah, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of support there.
I hope so.
It's going to be
Thanks,
exciting.
guys.
So watch this space,
Yes.
everybody. And of course, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it, guys. I will ask a small favor. If you're on YouTube watching, remember to comment if you've got anything positive. Comment if you want to ask Lenise a question, if you want to ask me a question, if you want to see something for round 2. And also remember to subscribe, guys. Please hit that bell icon for weekly videos. We'll see you here every week. And for those of you who are listening, if it's safe to do so, and you're not in the car, I always say that because I know a lot of you listen in the car as I do, make sure you go and leave a rating and a review. You just literally scroll down to the bottom of my channel on iTunes, if you're on there, or Spotify, and you can just leave a rating. It's really easy, and guys, it helps the channel grow. It helps more people get this around. So if you liked it and you know someone else who would like it, share it around, leave a review. Really appreciate it. And of course, until the next episode, in the meantime, stay fearless.
Perfect.